Chapter 59, Toronto. When Artem was 3 months old, we moved to Canada on November 17th, 2015, to a country with no friends and no family. Before leaving, we had to get him a passport, and for the passport, a photo. Try photographing a 3-month-old infant so he's looking at the camera, eyes open, white background, no pacifier, no hands in the frame. That's a separate quest not described in any immigration guide. We managed. In Toronto, I pulled myself together and became fully functional. Vanya didn't speak English. Finding housing, buying a car, filing paperwork, setting up daily life, all of it fell on me. I made a plan, took on all the negotiations, tracked Artem's sleep schedule to the minute, didn't rest, barely slept. But the plan worked, because a plan is what I'd done best since age 6. Vanya worked 14 hours so we wouldn't lose the visa. Didn't complain, didn't ask for help, pulled through silently, his way of loving, doing, without saying. And then I saw a different side of Vanya. He started working at Amazon and found himself under pressure he wasn't prepared for. Financial responsibility for 3. English that wasn't enough. Workwear for the first months he understood nothing. Stress piled up with no outlet. The outlet found itself through me. He became irritable, screamed, looked at me with contempt. Not sometimes, but most of the time. The face I would later describe in a letter 10 years later. A loud voice, bulging eyes, clenched teeth, as if about to attack. As if I were a problem that needed to be removed from the room. He didn't help with the baby. Not because he refused, I didn't ask. When I left in the morning for a run, to lose weight and become more beautiful for him, so he'd finally stop looking at me with contempt. He simply slept, didn't get up for Artem. I came back, guilty for leaving the child, though the child was with its father. But the father was sleeping. And then the silence would begin. Vanya could go without speaking to me for 12 days straight. 12. He walked around the apartment, ate, worked, looked at his phone, and acted as if I didn't exist. Not demonstratively, just as if no one was in the room. As if I were a wall, furniture, background. He too was in a foreign country. Also without friends, without language, without support. His silence was not punishment, it was his way of coping. Retreating inward, closing off, waiting it out. The way grandfather retreated to the garage. The way I retreated into function. 2 people from the same kind of homes, with the same skill, endure in silence. And every one of those days I was dying inside. Not from anger, from recognition. My grandmother punished with silence, stopped speaking, stopped noticing, and you walk through the house like a ghost waiting to be seen again, to be allowed to exist again. Vanya's silence hit the same spot, the same place inside where the child lived who had been punished with invisibility. I didn't ask for anything, but I tried different things to appease him. Cooked him food, delicious, proper, as expected. Wore long skirts. Valyeva, the author I was reading then, wrote that a woman should be feminine, soft, in a skirt, and then the man would appreciate her. I believed it. Put on the skirt, tied my hair, cooked dinner, set the plate before a husband who looked at me with contempt, and believed that if I were proper enough, feminine enough, quiet enough, he'd stop screaming. He'd see me. He'd love me. Like grandmother would love me if I got an A. Like mother would come back if I was good. Same logic, same promise, same result. Nothing changed. I didn't ask for help, gave him massages, gave him oral sex because without sex, he became even more irritable. And living in the same space with that irritation was unbearable. I drank so I could have sex with him, because sober, when you're being treated like that, I couldn't. He never started with romance and tenderness, just kissed when he wanted, and I understood, time to perform. I wasn't ready, but I drank and gave, because that was my function: wife, mother, servant, everything he wanted, and nothing of who I actually was. I was stockpiling resentment without noticing. Hatred grew inside like water behind a dam, and on the outside I smiled and wore skirts. The same formula as with my grandmother, bending over backward to please, and from them not a word of gratitude, no love. I was losing my mind. Not metaphorically, literally. From the sheer number of days without sleep, the brain starts working differently. Reality drifts, sounds get louder, light gets brighter, thoughts stop forming sentences. You look at the child and don't understand what to do with him. You hold him in your arms and don't feel your arms. And through it all, you keep going. Sleep schedule, healthy food, playgrounds, like a robot. To stop means admitting you're not coping, and that's been forbidden since age 5. When Artem was teething, he screamed for 3 hours straight. During the day, I was alone. After an hour of screaming, I started screaming at the wall. Not at him, at the wall, because you can't scream at the baby. But inside, there was more than could be contained. I was not a mother. I was a desperate child, without empathy, without resources, without support, like back then, on my knees in the corner. Back then, I didn't know you could ask for help, that I'm not coping is not a death sentence. Then I started drinking. Not binges, a glass, 2 in the evening. When I was angry at Vanya, when I was angry at Artem from exhaustion, when despair came so close that the only way to push it back was the bottle on the kitchen counter. After some time, I don't remember how long, the days blurred, I stopped getting up, just lay on the floor while Artem crawled next to me, small, warm, alive, crawling around my body, which lay there not moving. Not because I didn't want to get up, because I couldn't. The body said, done. And I lay there and watched my son crawl around me and thought one thing: I'm a bad mother. Like her, like my mother who abandoned me. I hadn't abandoned yet, but I'm lying on the floor while my child crawls next to me. How is this different? Guilt pressed down from above. Shame won't let you get up. Shame takes the last of what you have. After 2 weeks without sleep in Toronto, I decided to jump from the 17th floor. At night, I got up and went to the balcony, not because I wanted to die, but because the despair reached the point where the body searches for any exit, any door, any end. It wasn't death I wanted. I wanted it to stop. That night, Vanya woke up for some reason, saw me on the balcony, led me back to the bedroom. But after that, nothing changed. He didn't ask what happened or how I got to that point. Just went back to sleep. Mourning, as if nothing happened. Like after the knife at grandmother's, porridge, garage, school. Childbirth turned out not to be the beginning of a new life. A child who depends on an adult and the adult isn't coping. A mother who is physically present but emotionally absent. A scream that is followed not by comfort, but by a louder scream. Everything I'd been running from seeped through me, like water through a crack in the wall. And I understood. Everything I'd been running from seeped through me. The crack wasn't in the wall. The crack was in me.